Okay, it's time to conclude Batman month with the third and final film in Chris Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, The Dark Knight Rises. Now, before I start, I want to just mention how great, like I said in my review for The Dark Knight, how great The Dark Knight was, and that this movie is going to be tough to review, because if you don't know now, you'll never know. But this is my least favorite of the Chris Nolan Dark Knight movies. It's not that I hate it, not that I dislike it with a passion. It's not that it's not good. It's just that this is not gonna be a rant. It's not worse than Batman and Robin. It's not worse than X-Men Origins Wolverine, which I still hate. And it's not as bad as some critics have said. But now now it's time to get down to business. Now, production history. Christopher Nolan was hesitant to return to the trilogy for a second time, but he agreed after developing a story with his brother Jonathan and David S. Goyer that he felt would conclude the series on a satisfactory note. And so, this movie is inspired by Nightfall and Dark Knight Returns and No Man's Land. So, let me get into the plot. The plot is that it's been 8 years since Batman has last been seen, and then that Jim Gordon Jim Gordon has had a rough life. Batman has disappeared. Bruce Wayne is not in great shape since those events, and then his company is going downhill. So then we have a new villain in town. We have Bane, who is wanting to destroy all of Gotham City. And and he forces Bruce Wayne to come out of retirement and become Batman again. Then, now, what I think of this movie is, again, I don't hate it. I think this movie is good, but it's not that great of a film. Okay, you know what? Maybe it is that great of a movie, but it's still my least favorite of the Dark Knight trilogy. Now, let me get into some of the stuff to what I love about the movie. The thing I love about this movie the most is the action. The action is just insane. The action scenes are just incredible, especially that fight at the end of the movie in the snow while the police officers and Bane's army and Batman and Catwoman. Yeah, that part. And the fight between Bane and Batman, look, the first time they fight, Bane breaks his back. I almost got upset right then and there, because you did it to this character. Yeah, you did it to this character. And so, but I understand it was in the comic, but still, it almost made me say forget this movie, and almost made me just give up, lose faith in this movie. But yeah, the acting is once again amazing. Tom Hardy as Bane is great. His performance was great, but when you see him as Max Rockstancy in Mad Max Fury Road, he's even more great. And I also saw him in Star Trek Nemesis. He played Shinzon. He was great in Star Trek Nemesis. But my only problem with Tom Hardy's character Bane is that it's hard to understand what he's saying. It's like he can't understand. It's like you have to either turn on the subtitles or closed caption, or turn up the TV or something to hear what he's saying. It's that hard to hear what he says. Because he's wearing the mask. And Christian Bale, Michael Caine, Gary Oldman, and Morgan Freeman are all returning here. Rachel died in The Dark Knight. And they were going to bring the Joker in this one, even the Riddler, but Chris Nolan, he wanted to use Bane. And Anne Hathaway comes in as Catwoman. She does great as Catwoman. Awesome. If I had to pick my favorite Catwoman actresses, I go with Anne Hathaway, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Halle Berry. Because I like the Halle Berry Catwoman movie, even though other people don't. I might do a defense video on that movie. Now, Joseph Gordon-Levitt as John Blake, he was incredible. No problems. My only problem with Michael Caine as Alfred is that he leaves and doesn't show up until Bruce's funeral at the end, where he's crying saying, I failed you. You trusted me and I failed you. His performance is so emotional. He does, and he pulled it off perfectly. Christian Bale is Bruce Wayne Batman. This is the awesomeness he's played him, and it sucks that we won't see him again as Batman anymore, but it was worth it seeing him play Batman one more time. And I loved him as John Connor in Terminator Salvation. Yeah, the score by Hans Zimmer is incredible. Cinematography is incredible. I love it. The action is great. Now my complaints is my sort of complaints. The one tiny complaint is that this movie is way too long. But it took me a while to get used to how long to a 3-hour long movie like this. So when I watched Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, and Return to Caine, in The Hobbit, Unexpected Journey, I just said, you know what? Forget this. I don't care if it's 3 hours or 3.5 hours long. I'm gonna sit here and watch this. And yeah, and the big complaint is that Miranda Tate, played by Marion Cotillard, who was in Inception, which is also directed by Christopher Nolan. You think she is taking over Wayne Enterprises, but the character reveal at the end, I'm not the only one who's got upset about it. Another channel called Vader 2591 aka Sean Cobb, he even said this in his Dark Knight trilogy review. He was upset. He was mad. I was mad when that happened and when Batman's back gets broken by Bane. It's the worst you can do to a superhero character. And I've seen worse. You killed Quicksilver in Avengers Age of Ultron Marvel. You stabbed Superman with Kryptonite in Superman Returns, Lex Luthor. And you killed Cyclops in probably the most lamest way ever. But the Cyclops thing, I would rather him just left and then leave it at that. But anyways, The Dark Knight Rises, it is, look, do I hate this one? No. Is there stuff in this movie I can enjoy? Yeah. And I see what Chris Nolan was trying to do. So that's why I'm not saying I hate this movie. That's why I ain't saying forget this movie. And that's why I'm not saying, I'm not giving this movie a bad rating. But I will say it is a little bit disappointing. It is my least favorite of the trilogy, but I don't hate it. I will give this one a highly recommended. It's not, again, I didn't think it was all that great, but I did have fun with this movie. So highly recommended is the best I can do. That concludes Batman month. I'm going to leave Catwoman out. I will do that for a defense video. And I guess next month is Superman month. Bye guys. See you later.